Rowdy crowd this morning. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Catskills. I'm Kathy Atwell, your worship assistant for this morning. Our guest speaker this morning is Nina Teng, and she's right there, and will explore with us her path with being an engaged Buddhist. Through the years of practicing with Sangha's communities from 2005, Nina has reaped many fruits of her mindfulness practice. She will share about her spiritual journey on the engaged Buddhism path and how Thich Nhat Hanh's teaching are applied in different communities all over the world. Born in Hong Kong, Nina arrived in San Francisco in 1975 to study journalism in college. She ended up attending architectural school and retired as a New York architect in 2015. Self-professed agnostic, Nina has been a student of Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh since 1999 and is a member of the lay village community of engaged Buddhism. We are delighted she is here, and all of you who are attending in person in the sanctuary and virtually via Zoom. A big welcome to everyone, wherever you are attending. Unitarian Universalism is a liberal religious faith that carries no creed and welcomes all seekers. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We are guided by a set of principles and written sources that encompass the many ways we come to know and understand the world, the universe, and divine. Our principles are important to us at UU Catskills, and we live our values on a daily basis. We affirm that Black Lives Matter. We are a welcoming congregation of the LGBTQ+ community. We are an affiliate of the Ulster Immigrant Defense Network. We are an active voice in the effort to address climate change. And we acknowledge that our sanctuary shares the land that is the ancestral home of the Lenni Lenape. If you'd like to contact someone at UU Catskills, please visit our website, uucatskills.org, or find and like us on Facebook and Instagram. If you are a visitor and would like to be added to our mailing list, you can put your name and address in the chat box on Zoom or talk with any of our members after the service. If you are a first-time visitor and would like to let us know, please raise your hand and we welcome you. Susan is new. Hello, welcome, welcome. Susan's my neighbor. Yeah, I saw her. Do you want to stand up and introduce yourself? Go ahead. Oh, they are coming. They're going to be here in September and do a program. Rise Up Kingston. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. We encourage you to read our August newsletter that is distributed through our email list and on our website. Upcoming events for the month are in your newsletter, and there are several that's coming up this week that are on the back of your order's service. Thank you to everyone who is assisting with today's service. Our hybrid services are made possible by our technical team. Lydia McGraw is over in the corner here in the sanctuary, operates the camera and sound for our live streaming. Our Zoom host this week is Kristen Shara. After the service, for those attending via Zoom, please stay for our breakout room for a virtual break. Please stay after the service and enjoy all the goodies that are out there tempting us. So I have a couple announcements for next Sunday. Do you have a brief poem or passage of inspiration that you would like to share with the congregation? Next week, our service will be about the power of words to assure or sustain. Bring in your choice of poem, paragraphs, or passages, please not too long. This is your service, At the end of the service, like our flower communion, we will give them to each other. We will give our words to each other. And then I want Judith Irwin heads our Buddhacast. We have here in the UU Catskills, and I'm going to let her say just a couple words.
Okay. We thought maybe since you're here, you have an interest in Buddhism, so we wanted to welcome you. Buddha Cats is an affinity group with this UUCC, but you should know that there are affinity groups like it at well over 100 Unitarian congregations across the country. And everyone is welcome to attend. There's no required, knowledge or anything like that to come. And I just discovered this week that if you want to come, it's in the newsletter. If you click on it, I didn't know this. If you click on the word Buddhacast, it opens up a whole new screen that gives you all the information about how we run our meetings and who you should call. And so you don't really need any other information than that today, other than to click on the word Buddhacast. We meet twice a month, once in person and once on Zoom. Some people come in person and not on Zoom. Some come on Zoom and not in person if there's no requirements. And there are other people here that you're welcome to speak with, or me, if you want to speak to me after the service. Karen's here, Paris, Catherine, Christine, Kristen, I may be missing somebody. So you please feel welcome to speak with any of us after the service. I think I need batteries.
We're going to do the prelude this morning a little bit different, give Catherine a break. And we'll be showing a YouTube video of a chant from Plum Village Monastics. It's a very who listens deeply to the cries and suffering of the world. Okay. I don't know if the bright lights. Any children that would like to come up, we're going to light our chalice. We're going to, just a second, let's wait. Come on up. He's going to light it. All right, let's just come on, okay? Don't come on here. We can sit right there. There we go. All right, you know the drill? Light the little one. And the words, Catherine?
We light this chalice in grateful, loving community. Even in the darkest of times, may it proclaim my paths to courage, justice, and hope.
And our unison affirmation?
May we be reminded here
of our highest aspirations
and desire to bring our gifts of love to all living beings. May we know once again that we are not isolated, but connected to wonder and joy, to mystery and miracles in the universe, in this community, and in each other.
The Art of Saving the Planet by Thich Nhat Hanh, and Karen Lindsay's going to read them for us.
Good morning. We need a real awakening, a real enlightenment. New laws and policies are not enough. We need to change our way of thinking and seeing things. This is possible. The truth is that we have not really tried to do it yet. Each one of us has to do it for ourselves. No one else can do it for you. If you are an activist and you are eager to do something, you should begin with yourself in your own mind. It is my conviction that we cannot change the world if we're not able to change our way of thinking, our consciousness. Collective change in our way of thinking and seeing is crucial. Without it, we cannot expect the world to change. Individual awakening. You have to wake yourself up first, and then those around you have a chance. When we ourselves suffer less, we can be more helpful and we can help others to change themselves too. Peace, awakening, and enlightenment always begin with you. You are the one you need to count on. On the one hand, we must learn the art of happiness, how to be truly present for life, so we can get the nourishment and healing that we need. On the other hand, we must learn the art of suffering, the way to suffer, so we suffer much less and can help others suffer less. It takes courage and love to come back to ourselves, to take care of the suffering, fear, and despair inside. To meditate is crucial, to get out of despair, to get the insight of non-fear, to keep your compassion alive, helping all beings. To meditate doesn't mean to escape life, but to take time to look deeply. You allow yourself time to sit, to walk, not doing anything, just looking deeply into the situation and into your own mind.
In our first song, Nina's going to lead us in, and the words are on your program. I also put them up here, Island of Self. So, Catherine, are you going to try to accompany? Mm-hmm. Nina's going to lead us. You want to sit? Maybe I can. So the children's story this morning is called Apple, Juice, and Pine Cones. One day, 4 children were playing at our sweet potato community outside Paris. Oh, sorry. It's written by Thich Nhat Hanh. One of the children was Tatu, is that right? No. Who was not yet 4 and a half. The other 3 were her friends from school. 2 was staying with us for several months while her father looked for a job in Paris. The 4 children ran off to play on the hillside behind the house and were gone for about an hour. When they returned, they asked for something to drink. I took out the last bottle of homemade apple juice and gave them each a full glass, serving 2 last. Since her juice was from the bottom of the bottle, it had some pulp in it. When she noticed the particles, she pouted and refused to drink it. So the 4 children went back to their games on the hillside. 2 had not drank anything. Half an hour later, when I was meditating in my wanted to get herself a glass of cold water. But even on tiptoes, she could not reach the faucet. I reminded her of the glass of juice on the table and asked her to drink that first. Turning to look at it, she saw that the pulp had settled and the juice looked clear and delicious. She went to the table, took the glass in both hands. After drinking half of it, she put it down and asked, "Is this a different glass of juice, Uncle Monk?" Uncle Monk is a common nickname Vietnamese children use when addressing an older monk. "No," I answered, "it's the same one as before." It sat quietly for a bit, and now it's clear and delicious. 2 looked at the glass again. "It's really good. Was it meditating like you, Uncle Monk?" I laughed and patted her head. Let's say is closer to the truth. Without a doubt, 2 thought that the apple juice was sitting for a while to clear itself, just like her Uncle Monk. I think that 2, not yet 4.5, had understood the meaning of meditation without any explanation. The apple juice became clear after resting a while. In the same way, if we rest in mindfulness a while, we too become clear. The clarity refreshes us and gives us strength and serenity. When we feel refreshed, our surroundings also become refreshed. That night, after the children had gone to sleep, a guest came. I filled a glass with the very last of the apple juice and put it on the table in the middle of the meditation room. I invited my friend to sit very quietly, just like the apple juice. Another time when there was she told me that the earth gives birth to pine cones so that we can use them to start fires to keep warm in the winter. I told her that pine cones are there to give birth to baby pine trees, not for lighting fires. Rather than being disappointed by my explanation, her eyes were even brighter. Okay, children, we are going to sing you out. Not that we don't love you and want you to stay, but I think you have fun stuff to go to. As you leave this friendly place, love gives light to every face. May the kindness which you learn light your heart till you return. I don't see that. Put new batteries in it. Hopefully it works now. So I wonder, is there anyone who would like to hop around and take the mic, or I guess I can take it and come back? You want to do it? Here. Okay. So now, half of the money that we collect Sunday in our basket, we share with other nonprofits in the community. This year we have 7 nonprofits that we will be, at the end of our fiscal year, we'll be dividing equally half the plate. And they are Seed Song Farm, Center for Creative Education, Hudson River Slope Clearwater, Kingston Emergency Food Collaborative, A.J. Williams Myers African Roots Center, Hudson Valley LGBTQ Plus Center, and the Ulster Immigrant Defense Network. So Catherine is going to play our offertory, Hermit Thrush at Noon, by Amy Beach, performed by Catherine.
I wasn't going to say this, but she was in the McDowell colony, And every morning she would hear the hermit thrush, and she wrote down the song. And I've listened to it, and she brought it down an octave, otherwise it would be way up here. She brought it down an octave, she just slowed it down a little bit.
And Catherine, can I do just one quick thing? And I forgot, and I apologize. You put one more rock in our water for the sorrows, joys, concerns that we perhaps keep internally and do not share, but that they are still in our thoughts, and we wish you the best. Okay, now. Okay, Nina, you're up. Nina Teng.
Good morning. It was okay. We just sit quietly for 3 breaths. Good morning, everyone. Really happy to be here to share about my mindfulness practice in relationship with Teng Han's community, Plum Village community of Engaged Buddhism. I just realized the readings we just had and the song that we just sang sort of said everything that I really wanted to say, so I can leave now, I think. But I promise, Cassie, I'll speak for a little while. So it's my first time speaking outside the community. So if you could just bear with me, I'm a little bit nervous, and I may not stick to the script. So whatever little things that you hear that you didn't understand, you can ask me later on, and just bear with me. And so Susan will be my timekeeper just in case I go over. I was told that most of you know about Thich Nhat Hanh. Is that true? Anyone who doesn't know anything or know nothing a little? Probably somebody on Zoom is raising their hands too. So anyhow, so I'll just give you a little brief introduction to Thai. Thai is it's a Vietnamese term of respect and endearment for teacher. So we call him Thai, or I can pronounce it Thay. So Thich Nhat Hanh is my spiritual teacher. Besides being a peace activist and a poet, he was a Vietnamese Buddhist Zen master who renewed Buddhism and brought mindfulness to the West. He died last year at the age of 95 after suffering from a stroke in November 2014. And he was born in Hue in central Vietnam. I always want to say that because during the war, he was often asked, "Are you from North Vietnam? Or are you from?" With the CIA, and if you're from the North, you're with the Viet Cong. And Thai always says, "I'm from Central Vietnam," and he's from Central Vietnam. And he always says not to take sides. And because by not taking sides, both sides are suspicious of him. So in 1966, he was denied re-entry back to his own country because of his peace work in the U.S. So both North and South Vietnamese governments denied him entry. So he was in exile. And because he was here promoting peace and trying to end hostilities in Vietnam. So in 1982, he founded Plum Village with some of his friends, which is now an international Buddhist practice community in near Bordeaux in southwest France. Is it south? Potato community that was started near Paris in 1975 after his exile. So in a way, I'm always thankful for this exile because I'm born in Hong Kong, as you know, but I know very little about Buddhism. To me, it was like growing up, it's like hocus pocus, it's like only see them out in the streets when they were doing funeral rites and never really have a good understanding of Buddhism. So Thai really made it accessible to me because if I look at the sutras in Chinese, I took one look. I think after 2 minutes, I would put it down. Just can't deal with it. And Thai really was incredible in renewing Buddhism because most of the way Buddhism was practiced is not really how it was originally intended. And Thai really renewed it and brought it to the West and the rest of the world as we know it now. So grateful for that exile, even though he's suffering from that. The term was coined by Thai and his spiritual friends at the height of the Vietnam War. And that's when they decided that they want to get off the meditation cushion in the monastery and go and help people who are suffering during the war. So that's how it all sort of kind of started. So, and they want to use their mindfulness practice, right, to help everybody else. So we can say that Plum Village was born from the crucible of war. And we can also say that Plum Village engaged Buddhists were following the footsteps of Gandhi, promoting peace and nonviolence with their actions. I think for me, the manifestation of Plum Village also exemplifies what Thai always says: no mud, no lotus. And so from the mud of exile and war, we have this beautiful lotus of Plum Village. and I'm benefiting from it definitely. But then actually we found out that actually I've been hearing from other Buddhist practitioners that from other traditions that engaged Buddhism is actually happened way back. It's always been there. It's nothing new, and he's right in a way, right? So actually in 1930 in Vietnam there was a movement to sort of make Buddhism more relevant and responsive to people's everyday life. But according to Dai, engaged Buddhism even, he's sort of agreeing with the rest of the other Buddhists. He said it didn't really begin even in 1930. It began way back at the very beginning. Kings were ruling with Buddhist beliefs and their practices. So people were able to benefit from a benevolent king, from a Buddhist king. So when we talk about engaged Buddhism now, I think most of us probably think of it as social activism in reducing injustice and inequities in the world and championing freedom and democracy. But to me, that's just outer engagement. So I think engaged Buddhism really involves inner and outer. So we sort of heard it earlier, right? And the song about going back to the island of the self. And that's really like, I think there was a discourse when the Buddha was 80, so he sort of sensed that he was about to die. And he knew how his community or his students really depended on him all these years. And even and they've been sort of helping the Buddha guide the community. So he realized, just like Thai realizes, his students are relying on him a lot, right? So Thai prepared us, just as the Buddha prepared his community, and wrote a discourse and he taught this discourse on taking refuge in the island of the self. And so he's basically telling all of his students and to us now not to take refuge in somebody else, not even in Buddha himself, right? So we should really go back to our own self for support, because we all have Buddha nature in us. So we really need to rely on ourselves, and how to get there is a different question. And so we just read about that in the opening reading, because if we're not engaged in our own lives from moment to moment, we probably lost in regrets of the past and anxiety in the future. So if we're in that state, we all know we've been there, right? I've been there. I'm there right now. I'm very anxious because I'm the first time speaking in front of. So what does that happen is we can't really be present to what's going on, right? I'm thinking about what's happening yesterday. My argument with so and so. Oh God, the Japanese government has dumped all this nuclear wastewater in the Pacific Ocean for the next 30 years. So I'm living in anxiety. So I will be of no help to myself, let alone trying to be of help to somebody else, right? So the idea is really trying to be fully engaged in this moment right now. As I'm standing here, as I'm talking with you, my body is here, my mind ought to be here, so then I can be fully present. So that's the very basic practice, right? So, and Thai always says, because Thai also know that when we say engaged Buddhism, we have an image of what it is. And so Thai says, well, we can practice it anywhere, right? Anywhere. What does that mean? We can, and then we can at any time. So we can practice anytime, whether we are walking, sitting, drinking our tea in mindfulness, and anywhere in terms of meditation hall, in the kitchen, in the bathroom, on the streets, on the subway, we can practice engaged Buddhism. That's the inner one that's what we were talking about, right? And he's saying that it's called engaged Buddhism. This is what Thai says. Because we're doing it to preserve ourselves in order to help the world. So that's what we just say, right? If we're not present, we're not engaged, I cannot be here. So I can't even be me, so how am I supposed to help somebody? And we're in the Mahayana tradition, which really believes in not just improving our own practice, like our own lives, it's also belief in helping other people, in saving people. So that whole Namo Avalokiteshvara chant, that's what it was all about. When we hear it, we actually feel emotion coming up, that need to go help and other people who are in deep suffering. And that's what the Bodhisattva of compassion is about. So, we were trying, the whole thing is, I remember my son going to high school, and he went to Jesuit school. And the first thing they told them is, the model of the high school was men for others. It's an all-boys school. Men for others. And they're saying, yeah, we're here. You have all these God-given talents, and you don't do it for your own self-interest. You do it to help others. Men for others, right? So the same with the Mahayana tradition. We are here to help other people. So in order to help other people, we need to really take good care of ourselves. And Tayo says that when he was here in the States, and not just in the States, but most of it was in the States when he was doing his peace work, he was saying he's never met angrier people than peace activists. And so he was like really surprised. Here, people who are, like, it's ironic. So he's always telling us, like, practice peace in yourself so that we can have peace in the world. And so that's what we're trying to do. We try to cultivate peace in ourselves first. And it's really basically, we're talking about mindfulness practice. I think most of you know what mindfulness practice is, but just for the benefit of those who are not very knowledgeable about mindfulness practices, I'll just go through a little bit how when I first attended my retreat, first met Thai was in 1999, and actually in a wonderful ski resort in Mount Escutney in Vermont. I was very lucky. Very comfortable environments versus like some of the monastery lodgings we have these days. So I learned to practice mindfulness, and the way Thai was teaching it was basically it's based on breath awareness. But we did like mindful sitting, like during meditation, mindful walking, mindful relaxing. We did total relaxation, teaching us how to really relax our whole body from the head all the way down to the toe, like really going through each organ, thanking what has been helping us with. So, so mindful eating, right? Listening, very important, mindful listening. And we know how, in our daily conversations, we start to tell our friends something, and before we even finish our sentence, they try to tell us their part of their experiences, So to be able to really listen is a really wonderful gift. And it's a practice. It's actually a practice, for me anyway. And so, so we use breath awareness as the practice. Why do we use breath awareness as a practice? Because it's always here. If I don't have I can't breathe, I'm not here, right? So it's like sayonara. But so it's something that we can always rely on. Because as long the minute like I'm really nervous coming up, I was like, take a 3 breaths. Literally, that's why I did the 3 breaths. It's actually for me. So fingertips, it was like right in my body. I can tune right in if I'm feeling like angry. Okay, the first thing Thai always says, stop. Right? Stop whatever you're trying to. Don't say anything. Don't do anything. Especially when we have strong emotions. And go right back to our breathing. And at first I could feel it. I could feel it. If I'm nervous and angry or I have strong emotions, my breath is up here. It's very, very shallow. I couldn't really reach down. I couldn't really take a full breath. To take a full deep breath, it takes a lot of effort and concentration. So Thai was saying like, well, use your breath Your breath can help you with so many good things. And so by paying attention to our breath, we're connecting our mind and body. We know what that means, right? Because my body is here, but I'm thinking, what's for lunch or what's over there later on for snacks or whatever, right? So the mind is not to connect, to make sure we're here. And the training, that's why it's called practice, right? The training is to train our mind to come back to our body. And how do we do that? Come back mind, I may not come back. So we just use the breath awareness. And Tai was saying, whatever that helps. Some people might be able to just sit, take a breath, breathing in. I'm aware I'm breathing in. Breathing out. I'm aware I'm breathing out. But some people cannot. Some people can breathing in, I'm there, forget it. So the thing is, we try to find what it is, right? Some people cannot sit, they can walk, so do walking meditation. Whatever it is, some people cannot sit, cannot walk, it's try lying down or standing, whatever it takes to try to train ourselves to get into position, in a space where we can connect our mind and body. So when the mind and body connect, that means we are here, right? Everything is here. The mind is here, the body is here. I can pay full attention to what's going on. I am here for you. Am I talking with a friend? Let's say I'm talking with Susan. Already? Oh my God. So I'm talking to Susan and I'm like, oh God, I'm thinking about our conversation from last week and not what's happening now. It's not going to be very productive. I still can function, obviously, but it's not going to be as productive, as fruitful if I'm fully here. So anyhow, so using the breath awareness, we found that Tai actually says that breath awareness alone is not enough. Whoops, he's saying that. It's not enough. Then what happens? We need to practice mindfulness, right? So why we need to practice mindfulness in terms of the meditation? Because breath awareness that's the anchor. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in, I know I have a long breath, I have da-da-da-da-da. And so when I first learned the breath awareness technique, we actually have 16 exercises to do. So it's grouped into 4 groups. It's first we're aware of our body, right? We're aware of the body, we count the body. And the second group is we're aware of our feelings. And then it's aware of our thoughts and then our perceptions. So we sort of go through those exercises and it helps us to really see what's going on in our mind and in our hearts, right? So Tai is saying, why do we do that? Because a lot of time we're suffering from something. And until we heal, until we really understand the suffering, until we're able to transform the suffering, we're caught in the suffering sometimes, and then once we're able to understand what the cause of our suffering is, we're able to transform it, and hopefully understand what the wounds are, and then be able to heal the wounds. And I found what happened to me was, it's over the years, I'm able to actually find wounds that my mind is not aware of. Because Tai always say, use meditation to surrender to the unconscious, to the subconscious, which he called, in Buddhist psychology, we call stall consciousness. It's not up here. We sit and we want to let this go and surrender to that stall consciousness. And half the time, I'm able to find wounds that I didn't know exist, because I was able to really dig deep and find out, oh my God, I thought it was done and dusted. It wasn't. It's lodged in me. It's actually in my body. And I have to deal fully and happily with other people. So that's what it is. And that's why Tai said, breath awareness is not enough. We need to transform our suffering and heal our wounds. And that's through the mindfulness practice. And then beyond that, we also know that mindfulness alone is also not enough. We need ethics. And that's when I went to the first retreat, we were given something called 5 mindfulness trainings, which is actually derived from the original precepts that Buddha gave early on, way on. But of course, Thich Nhat Hanh and his and the multiple Sangha in Infinite Wisdoms modified them to fit with our 21st century. So it's constantly being modified. And so this is how we practice. And the whole reason we're doing this is so that we can serve other people, right? And also there are all sorts of different initiatives. I'm sorry, I think I'm running out of time. So I'm just going to quickly say some of the things that I have done based on what's going on in the world. Right now I'm involved with a local, what we call Earth Holder Sangha, dealing with environmental issues and whatnot, but most of us in the Earth Holder community is always dealing with intersectionality of social justice and climate, etc. So my local Sangha dealing with that is called Deep Roots Beloved Community Circle. And so we try to, we have to practice together to really work with those things we just talked about, communicating, using the mindfulness, like 4th mindfulness training, mindful speech and deep listening to each other, because each one of us might want to do a different action. How to listen and have compassion for the other person's action, and then come up with a good consensus. This is what the group wants to do. So we kind of right now, organic farmer grow produce for local farm food pantries. So we go and help him. He's doing this voluntarily. I mean, he's just amazing. And so trying to address food equity. And then we also decided different things have been coming up. Then I sort of thought, instead of trying to think, because Mid-Central Valley has some amazing organizations doing a lot of amazing work. There's like a setup, a network already. So I said, we have a community, our own monastery, Blue Cliff Monastery, which is in Pine Bush. If you haven't been there, it would be wonderful to visit it. We can go and, so we're going to go and do help them with the composting, which have been started, but sort of abandoned because they don't have enough personnel to help. Doing energy audits for get some energy audit for the facilities. And then the last one is community solar. So we're doing different initiatives, and there are lots of other initiatives throughout the. So it's all like, I remember when I first started years ago, it was just some sanghas having visits to prisons, or doing mindfulness practices and introducing it to young kids or whatever. But now it's just like we have trauma people, organizations. I mean, sanghas just working with people with trauma, and as I said, global Earth Holder sanghas. There's just all sorts of things going on. And Thai always says, what we're trying to, the practice, the whole inner engagement that I talked about earlier, is really making us engage in a different way. It's not like the question wasn't engage or not to engage. It's like what to engage and how to engage. What we don't want to engage is this time is money mentality. We don't want to engage with that, because that was the one that's causing us a lot of problems, right? The stress that we have, the anxiety. So Thai is saying, think about time is life, resisting what the existing model is. And so my practice is really, we're trying to rewire our brain to think differently and to live differently. So there's a lot of reconditioning that's happening with the mindfulness practice and how we choose to engage in the world. So thank you. I'm sorry I...
Don't go away, because you're going to lead our song.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is a great song. So this is a great song. This is telling us about the whole idea of interbeing, a little bit that Thich Nhat Hanh coined. You totally believe it, I know. You really like you champion interdependence. So we all believe. Oh, I can't really hold this because there's going to be. I can sing loud enough, I think. Because Plum Village. I mean, when I first went to my first retreat, it's like, no way I'm going to sing any of these songs. Like, no way. And then there are movements. So we are all the leaves of one tree. So you want to do the same thing?
Me?
Just not. We are the leaves of one tree. We are the leaves of one tree. The time has come for all to live as one. We are the leaves of one tree. We are the waves of one sea. We are the waves of one sea. The time has come for all to live as one. We are the waves of one sea. We are the stars of the sky. We are the stars of the sky. As one, we are the stars of the sky. We are the leaves of one tree. We are the waves of the sea. The time has come for all to live as one. We are the stars of one sky.
Find my closing words. They're here somewhere. Too many papers. So I have the closing reading. And this is by Tai and from his book Zen and the Art of Saving the Planet. My generation has made mistakes. We've done it great harm and destruction. Giving it to you now, we're ashamed. It is not that we would wish it to be. You are receiving a beautiful planet that is damaged and wounded. We are sorry. As someone belonging to the older generation, I hope the young generation can step up as soon as possible. This planet belongs to you, to the future generations. Your destiny and the destiny of the planet are in your hands. Our civilization is a civilization of borrowing. Whenever we want something we can't afford, like a house or a car, we count on our body and our labor in the future to pay back the debt. We borrow and borrow without knowing if we can ever pay back. In this way, we have borrowed from ourselves, from our health, and from the planet. But the planet can't take it anymore, and we have borrowed too much from you, our children and grandchildren. The planet and the future generations are also us. We are not separate. The planet is us, and you are also us. The truth is, there's not much of ourselves left. It is very important to wake up and see that we don't need to borrow anymore. What is available in the here and now is already sufficient for us to be nourished, to be happy. And this is the miracle of mindfulness, concentration, and insight. Realizing we can be happy with the conditions that are already available, that we don't need to strive to get more, exploiting the planet as we do so. We don't need to borrow anything. Only with this kind of awakening can we stop the destruction. It is not something that can be done individually. We have to wake up together. And if we wake up together, then we have a chance. Our way of living our life, and, sorry, got a bug. Our life and planning our future has led us to this situation. And now, let me know if it goes in my face. And now we need to look deeply to find out, not only as individuals, but as a collective, a species. You can no longer count on the elderly generation alone. I have often said that one Buddha is not enough. We need collective awakening. All of us have become Buddhas in order for our planet to have a chance. So we'll exchange the chalice with these words. Izzy, where's it at? Oh,
Sorry.
that's all right. That just just a little extra visitor this morning. But not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These words carry in our hearts until we are together again. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. Thank you all for coming, and go see what's over there. Coffee and goodies, and Nina's going to stick around a little bit to chat, and